Welcome back to FreightWaves Now on this Monday morning. We've got our next guest ready to go right now and talking about a pretty big topic for us all in the freight industry, driver job markets.
That's right. Charles Gracey is with us.
Charles,
Hey, how's
welcome
it
to
going?
FreightWaves Now. We're excited to have you here.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
So, of course, the job market, no matter where we're talking, in warehousing, in drivers, in brokers, it's hot. People need people to fill these empty jobs. What are you seeing right now?
Well, we're seeing everything trend towards it's getting a little bit better. People are getting back to work. People are feeling more comfortable with the environment that we're in post COVID. We're seeing an uptick in app volume and also response rates. So everything's trending in the right direction. I think at the end of the day, it's going to come down to innovation. Who's going to be the most innovative employer to attract the talent into their pool?
Charles, one of the other things that we've always been watching is the competition within the market, and not only just within the services competing with each other, but for workers as well. Do you see any competitors for truck drivers, like competing industries like construction or manufacturing?
Yeah, so we're seeing it. We saw it a little bit during COVID. We're seeing it a little bit more now where people are becoming more competitive outside of trucking. So, therefore, it's drawing some of the talent pool within trucking into other industries. So, it's forcing the trucking industry to, again, be more innovative. And how do you attract that talent and keep the talent that's already in the pool?
And so that's, of course, the million-dollar question, right? How are you getting these people to be attracted to your jobs in an industry that is traditionally not thought of as super great? But as a driver, if you get on the right lanes, if you're working with the right company, you can make a ton of money, right? Talk to me a little bit about what you guys are doing to try and make this job more attractive to people who maybe aren't as familiar with the industry.
Well, and that is the million-dollar question. How do we keep these people coming in? How do we keep interest into the industry and also maintain the pool that we already have? So what we're seeing is carriers switching lanes instead of the traditional OTR that's 3 to 4 weeks out. We're seeing people run more of a regional and a relay type lane for their drivers to get them home more often, to have that nice work-life balance, and still raising the pay in order to become competitive with the outside industries that are now taking from our pool. On top of that, we're seeing culture as an issue. A lot of companies sound the same when they're advertising for drivers. It's easy to get lost in the mix if you're not different. So a lot of companies are taking looks internally on how they can appear to be different to their competitors. And sometimes it just comes as simple as culture. Sometimes it comes to a balance. Sometimes it just comes to communicating efficiently what you're looking for and the reason you're different from everyone else out there.
So, Charles, talking about retaining drivers and keeping them in there, are you also seeing any trends around ages within this industry? We're looking at younger drivers entering the market.
Yes, so we're seeing a lot of companies try to figure out how are they going to attract new drivers from different pools that aren't as competitive. So younger drivers, some of the older drivers that may have gotten out during COVID or due to age or the current events going on. How do you attract those? So we're seeing companies do casual programs. More and more, you're starting to see where it's, hey, work a week, take a week off to attract those older, more experienced drivers back into the market. And for the younger drivers, you got a lot of initiatives that are pushing to attract younger drivers and to allow us to hire younger drivers. Traditionally, it's been 23 and up, and now we're starting to see the 21, and there's even the talks of going down to 18. So I think it's a lot of innovative thinking and a lot of exciting things to come from the transportation industry at this point.
So we've talked a lot about how traditionally people coming out of high school and into these careers think that they need to follow the traditional career path of going to college, getting into a corporate job maybe, or this is kind of thought as the way that it needs to be done, right? And we talk a lot about the loss of the value of the trade, and bringing in the transportation industry is one of those things. Talk to me a little bit about what you think needs to happen on the school level or the driver school level to try and attract these younger talents who are coming out and make them realize, hey, I don't have to go to college to have a great career. I can get into this trade area and have just as great as I did as if I got a full degree.
Yeah, great point. And I think it starts with the carriers and the schools reaching out at an earlier age than traditionally was done before to help educate them, see what the industry's about. Right now, one of the big talks is that new movie that came out with the Ice Road Trucker. And I think things like that, the movies, getting into the schools at an earlier age, going to those high school job fairs, not just the college ones, going in and talking, not just to recruit the drivers, but to educate the students on how much this industry can offer that you can skip the college degree and the debt that follows it and still make an honest, good wage driving a truck and still be home. Like we said a little bit earlier, you don't have to be out 3 to 4 weeks anymore when you first start out in this industry. If you do your homework, you can find companies that'll get you home weekly, even as a student.
So, Charles, it sounds like this has always been a kind of a reoccurring issue, not really a shortage of drivers, but also the retention of drivers. We're seeing this all the time, whether it's in a slow freight market or an upturn in a freight market. Retention is always that big thing. Are you still seeing this being an issue once we kind of get around, getting more of these drivers in-house, more of these seats filled? Are you still seeing that retention really being an issue here?
I think retention is always going to be an issue unless a carrier takes an internal audit of how we can maintain the driver workforce that we're bringing in. But I also see that it's the shiny thing in the corner. Right now, everyone's offering more money. And just like you and I and everyone else, we're always out to make a little bit more money. And these drivers are seeing these offers. And as soon as they get into an offer, the offer raises for more money. So we turn around and we have to look at how do we maintain our workforce. And I think that comes down to educating them that, sometimes the grass may appear to be greener, but look, we got this, this, and this, and we're continuing to grow and offer more along the way. And I think it also comes down to looking internally and thinking, hey, how can we make life better? Whether it be promotion from within the ranks instead of just outside, or whether it's a little bit more exposure to the drivers to see the methods behind the madness in the trucking industry and to help them grow as an individual rather than just here's your truck, go out there, drive, and you're on your own.
Charles, let's take a little bit of a look of the perspective from the actual job seeker. If you're a job seeker looking to get into this industry, what should you be looking for out of your companies? You mentioned that you guys are getting a lot more, what's the word I'm looking for right now? A lot more action, that's what it is, based off of your ads and people replying to your advertisements for employment. If you're a job seeker, what should you be doing to differentiate yourself, or how can you get the most out of your application process?
Well, and it is a job seeker's market right now. So you should be looking at pay. You should be asking the hard questions about home time. You should be asking about internal advancement. You should be asking about anything that matters to you. Get it out in the open early on. Ask those hard questions. Don't be shy about it because you should be intrigued and informative about any decision that you're making with a potential employer. You should be comfortable starting that job and not have those questions lingering in the background. And asking about pay, asking about benefits, asking about home time, asking about the equipment, asking about internal advancement. These are important conversations to be had prior to walking into any organization.
Charles, any tips for drivers looking to get in this industry? So one of the things I've known or realized with having a family member within the industry that's a driver, it's difficult just kind of getting into the school, getting all your certifications done, those licenses and everything. Any tips or any resources that you would recommend those looking to get started?
Yeah, totally. So depending on where you live, there's different opportunities. But what I've noticed is in most states, they have grants and stuff that are run through the unemployment office that'll pay for a trade school. You have the truck driving schools, you have the direct hire schools that train you going directly into a carrier. So there's tons of avenues to go out there. I recommend going to those schools, feeling them out, seeing if they have what's in your best interest, or whether you'd be better off going directly to a carrier to get your CDL. There's tons of perks through that route as well. Sometimes you might not pay for the school at all if you go through the carrier, but if you go through a school, you're going to have that upfront cost. You have to decide what's best for you and what's going to work with your arrangements and your lifestyle.
Great pieces of advice there, Charles. If people want to get in touch with you or get a little bit out of what Hotshot Services is offering, where should they go to do that?
Well, you can reach us at info@hotseatservices, or you could go directly to our website at hotseatservices.com, and you can reach us through there.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. It was great to talk to you, and have a great rest of your day.